Thank you. Good afternoon, Los Santos. Good morning. This is Dan Dorfman with another Weazel Pack weekend update. We're down here at our studio just off of up in Vinewood, and looks like it's going to be a beautiful day out there. We've got several guests coming up on our talk show today, and we look forward to reviewing with you the news of the day, the news of the past week. It's been a very action-packed week here in Los Santos, one that has left many people here in Los Santos grieving, as Los Santos has lost one of its fine medics. And clinging on to life is another one of the key personnel here that stand in the line between the real tool bags and the average citizen. Assistant Chief Mason remains in ICU over at Crusade Hospital down in Davis, where he's receiving the finest medical care that the city can offer for the serious burns that he suffered at the hands of the Bolingbrook 4. But we digress. Our news update this weekend continues on with the initial bomb threat that was called in just outside of the city, north of on the northern portion of the Sonora Freeway. There was a huge pileup, and many citizens were caught up in that and after hours traffic, where there was a high-speed police chase that ended up in a ditching of a vehicle, and another vehicle was found in the early part of this as a result of the backup, where a bomb was stretched to the bottom of the taxi cab. The driver allegedly was one Bill Ding, who remains now as a prisoner of Bolingbrook State Penitentiary. And we understand Bill's got his own room, and he's being receiving very cold soba noodles as a diet. Ha! Ha! As opposed to being the faux king now in prison. Building on that events of that day, where the San Andreas State Police managed to take the vehicle, defuse the bomb, and lead the taxi cab over to the quarry where it was later destroyed without harming an individual citizen at all. A miraculous event, frankly. But it set concerns in motion in the wake of the influx of all of the Class 2 firearms that have been flooding into the city. Now, as we've reported, the firearms themselves have been coming in at such an alarming rate and at such a low cost that even common street thugs, guys with very, very small mouse balls, have been able to get their hands on it with just a few hours of fishing. Now, the acting director tells us, Director Andrews, informs us that in the last 60 days, the number of shooting events with Class 2 firearms here in the city has skyrocketed 1,200%. There's always been a black market for bad weapons here within the city. But what we're seeing now is an unprecedented level of violence. One that has kicked off an escalation of force, both by the police as well as by criminals and various gang members. Now, this has got to stop. We've got to find a way to break up these individual groups. We've got to find a way to put pressure and to get the price on these weapons back up to where it starts to skyrocket on the city, and it's no longer available to the common goon who feels like he's got Superman's cape on his back and flees and eludes the police for a mere $36.75. Of which, goddammit, I still haven't been paid back yet by the city after being mugged 3 times when I first came here. But that's a different story. Now I'd like to go ahead and, we had the escape of the Bolingbrook 4, and we have a picture out there. Go ahead, Stephen. Let's go ahead and put up the picture of the Bolingbrook 4 as they've escaped the prison. And as you can see here in the As you can see here in the picture, the Bolingbrook Four have been, they're very, very dangerous individuals, and they are ones that certainly have managed to evade police. We believe that they've assumed a lot of different types of identities as they moved around the city in a very kind of a slippery way that they've kind of eluded the net of the police department that they've tried to ensnare. It was here that the police managed to be targets, find themselves as targets. And I'm just going to stand up for this segment because I feel so strongly and passionately about it. But it was here. It was here that the police found themselves in a massive gunfight down inside the Pillbox Hill. What's that on the screen? What the hell did you do? You son of a bitch! Are you trying to ruin my fucking marriage cut? You son of a... somebody's gonna pay for this. It's gonna... We interrupt this regularly scheduled program for a brief announcement. The San Andreas State Police wish you to know that the picture that you saw there was not in any way, shape, or form have anything to do with the Bolingbrook Four. It should be noted that the image there was a pool image. That was unintended for use in front of a live audience. And that we sincerely apologize to Mr. Dan Dorfman, as well as any of the persons involved in the photograph as it relates to any type of bikinis or suds. This has been a general announcement, and we will now resume you back to your regularly scheduled programming.